let's talk cryptids. If you're here, then that means we already have at least one thing in common: cryptids. And whether you love them, hate them, or are looking for proof of them, the fact you're reading this post means you're interested in them too. Well, I'm a crypto keeper of sorts, kind of like a park ranger for the less than normal. I'm generally hired on a case-by-case basis. My communities, from a small farming village right up to metropolis-sized cities, can call people like me in to investigate strange animal behavior, mysterious disappearances, or unbelievable witness reports, and I, or someone like me, will go in and look around for traces of anything left behind that a normal person might have missed. Usually it's nothing out of the ordinary, but occasionally there will be something else involved. It might be you notice scratch marks too far up a tree, a sense of foreboding near a particular place, or if you're really unlucky, you might hear the voice of someone you know that really shouldn't be there. This job is pretty tight-lipped. If I were to say just sit at a bar and start talking about hunting a werewolf spotted in the area, or the siren singing at the local beach, you would either think I'm a total nutjob, or be too frightened to leave your comfy little condo again. But something is changing in the unseen world just behind ours. Something that worries me and has the potential to become incredibly dangerous to those who are unaware of everything around them. And so I thought if I began talking about it, fairly vaguely, but with clarity where it counts, then, well, maybe you'll know the signs when you see them. You'll know not to ignore them, and maybe you'll be able to figure out what to do when you do notice the signs. And so I'll start this cautionary tale where it started for me. 3 weeks ago in northern England. I forgot what the place was called, but it's a popular place for cavers, and this is why I was called in. The area had abnormally large numbers of deaths and disappearances in the caving system over the last year. The town officials were at their wits' end. The local pros refused to look any further into the caves, claiming that the area that needed investigating where the bodies had been found. I was too far off the public route. No one should have been able to get there at all. All the overhead rocks were unstable. The rope lines were frayed and all the walkways were corroded. They had never let a group near there and had no intention of going in themselves. With pressure from higher governing bodies to close the mine if nothing was done, they caved, pun intended, and called for someone more accustomed to the strange. The local pros agreed to fit me for gear and lead me to the entrance of the closed-off part of the system. No biggie for me. I had to squeeze through some pretty nasty places, with no safety at all. All suited up and headlamp, harness and radio attached, they led me to an old iron gate, sealed off with a hazard tape and chained together. "You see?" yelled the shortest of my two guides, Malcolm, I think was his name. "Look at this place. It's locked tight. We're a good 5, maybe 10 minutes from the normal route. How could they end up down there?" Pointing downwards from inside the gate into a great massive expanse of inky blackness. "There were not even any lights here. They couldn't have just wandered down." I won't lie. At this point, I was fairly annoyed with my guides. They had done nothing but bitch, whine and proclaim it was impossible from the moment we got in the car. I really didn't need the headache. I turned and looked him square in the face and told him, "Look, Malcolm, I get that you're concerned about the caves. Maybe you're a bit freaked out, but it's probably just some wild animal that's found another way in and made itself a home." Which I honestly believed. It was too early in the year for the most dangerous cryptids to already be out hunting. I could probably expect to find a few imps or hobgoblins down there. That is the kind of place to hide out from the bigger creatures until the weather began to cool. A skinwalker maybe, though they typically prefer more wooded areas and only usually take 1 or 2 victims a year. Ignoring the rest of the complaints from Malcolm and the other guide, I asked for the key to the gate and told him I'll be okay from here. I'd radio if I needed any help, not that they would be much help anyway. Opening the gates was much more difficult than I expected. The old rusty lock groaned in protest at being forced to move again, creaking like nails on the chalkboard as I made my tumbler rotate from its resting place. And with a hefty shove from my padded shoulder, the rusted closed gate finally opened, and I could begin the work I came here for. As I slowly edged along the walls of the cave, I could see many tiny little eyes staring back at me from the crevices and hollow holes in the cave walls. Imps are pretty harmless unless you accidentally hurt one. They tend to be more afraid of humans than we are of them. Like spiders. When I say imp, I don't mean a tiny guy with horns and a tail like you're probably imagining right now. Imps are small, yes, but they're actually a part of the gnome family. The common appearance is that of a small hairy humanoid, except for the head. They like making caves their home as they tend to live off the mushrooms that thrive in the dark humid places, even the poisonous ones. If you ever go caving, take a few chestnut mushrooms in your pocket. And if you spot small round holes in the rock walls, leave one there and they'll love it. If you happen to find yourself lost, these friendly cryptids will help guide you out of the caves by poking you and putting your clothes in the direction of the exit. Right up until they see human-made lights. They don't like our lights. They're too bright for them. I left a few mushrooms scattered around me to let them know I was friendly, and I didn't mean to hurt them, and I carefully made my way forward, being watchful of anything growing on the floor. I didn't want to ruin any food they had grown. After another few minutes of edging along the walls and looking for signs, I spotted something that concerned me a lot. Deep, evenly spaced scratches along the far wall, like a hand. Not good, not good at all. I took out my mobile and took a quick look around me to make sure there was no imps nearby before turning on the camera and flash. I took a quick picture and stood perfectly still to examine it properly. I didn't want to risk a misstep or spraining my ankle or worse by trying to walk a narrow line and look at my phone. My surviving cryptid work, lesson 1. Know what you're dealing with before it deals with you. I learned early on in my work to try and memorize as many signs for cryptids as possible. After being stuck in a forest with nothing but a mobile phone with no battery, a bottle of water, and a hunting knife for a week, not knowing if I was the one doing the hunting or the one being hunted. Not even knowing what it was I was looking for, I learned fast. I knew this sign, and it was nothing good. It shouldn't have been there, or that active for that time of year. Wendigo. I wasn't prepared for this. I had nothing with me that could help me, and so I nervously made my way forward, looking for more signs to either confirm or deny what my anxiety and experience was telling me that it was. But it made absolutely no sense. I mean, sure, this would be a perfect place for a Wendigo, but it was too close to civilization, too close to roads, not to mention Wendigo activity in this area has never been recorded before. And they don't normally mass hunt until late fall in preparation for the long winter shut in, which is why certain areas, you might be told hunting in the full months, is prohibited. A small safety net to keep as many people out of its hunting grounds as possible. A surviving cryptid work, lesson 2. Learn to know when to run, when to hide, and how to survive. Now this wasn't normal Wendigo behavior, and the more I ventured in, the more I was convinced. In most cases, when a victim is taken by a Wendigo, it's quickly and quietly. They are superb hunters, but their appetite is unending, which is part of the Wendigo curse. Their victims are usually devoured quickly, starting with the limbs and working inwards. Only in the late fall, going into winter, do they tend to preserve their prey for any amount of time. But as I crept closer through the cave, my headlamp illuminated several bodies, and all still meaty. I had no idea what to do or expect. The next sign of Wendigo, certainty. There were bones scattered near my feet. I almost stood on them. That would have been the end of this if I had. Their senses are heightened beyond what we have been able to compare it to so far. If I had stood on one, it would have heard me and instantly known I was there. And I would have been just another body in the pile. Wendigos are also in the humanoid category, so the next sign was to check the bones. I slowly lowered myself into a squat position, trying not to move too much or do anything that might make a noise. Picked up a large femur bone, male I'm guessing, and checked it carefully in the glow of the headlamp. Yep, sign 2. Human-sized bite marks on the bones might have been scraped clean. I hadn't actually seen the Wendigo yet, thankfully, but I had enough information to know what I was dealing with. And time for lesson 2. Know when to run, or, in this case, walk slowly and carefully out of the damn cave. I made it back to the main corridor of the cave, where I had seen the imps and something had really scared them. They were tugging and poking me all the way up to a few feet from the gate, and just before I could see the lights from the main tourist route. The imp senses are far better than mine, especially in here. They heard it before I did. The sound of nails on rock clawing its way up, the heavy breathing as it climbed into the caves from an unseen opening, and then the screaming. The Wendigo's scream could be deafening. A low, thunderous rumble that reverberated through the caves and made my blood run cold. How far was it? And could I get out in time? Why was it here? If this was normal activity, I just told him to close the mines until summer, when it would likely move on to its next hunting ground. I knew I'd have to go back, but a lot more prepared. I knew what I was dealing with now. It will be difficult, dangerous, and maybe deadly if I made even a slight mistake. But this wasn't right. I shouldn't be here, and I had to know why. Wow. Certainly another one. Wow. What an awesome start to a brand new series from the incredible mind of Scarle7Stace over on Reddit No Sleep. Big thank you, Scarlet, for this refreshing take on a cave-in system type of story. And I always enjoy a good Wendigo story, probably my top 3 cryptids. Looking forward to the update too, Scarlet, and of course I hope you enjoyed my rendition. Well, guys and girls, as ever you know the drill. Please do let us know what you thought down below in the comments box. Please do like and share. It really does help both the channel and our community further. And why not hashtag TeamFEAR and DMT's Cryptid Crew. If you're an aspiring writer, want to get in touch with me at the brand new contact email, which is, as on screen, contact@gmail.com. I really look forward to hearing from you. Of course, as ever guys, I hope you're all well and happy, and keeping fit and focused. But above all, remember, be safe, not sorry.